Today, over 1 billion children in the world live in poverty. At Help Heal Humanity, our goal is to connect children in need with people like you who want to make a difference. Our student sponsorship program helps provide children with the necessities for a healthy and successful start to life. When you sponsor a student, you're not only giving them the gift of education, you're giving them the best chance for a brighter future. 100% of your donation supports the tuition fees, uniforms, textbook, and school supplies needed to thrive in a safe and healthy learning environment. Sponsor a student now and be the catalyst for their brighter future.
Listen to the Coaches Lounge right now, because we're going to bring this king on. And as I always say, I have to bring on these wonderful, wonderful coaches the right way. So here we go.
Oh my God, Barbara, that was beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are an angel.
David, I don't know. I mean, you're being really nice right now, but I was like, I said, I couldn't believe I have this celebrity on my show. Thank you so much. I mean, this is an honor.
Well, I'll tell you, you mentioned something earlier. When you are in alignment with people like Jenny McCarthy and Oprah, as you mentioned, Barbara, you're probably further ahead than you could ever imagine. Those statements that, I'm reaching, I'm going, I'm there, type of a thing is absolutely what we all need to be doing as we do the work to get there. But I just love the way you reflected upon yourself saying, I'm not Oprah yet, but I'm going there. Jenny McCarthy is probably one of the most incredible individuals I've ever met in my life, Barbara. And, people think of her as a Playboy, a model, and they think of her as, the host of The Masked Singer now, which she's gained huge acclaim for. But what they don't understand is, I've been in this business for 43 years as a counselor, master life coach, radio host, TV host, all that kind of stuff, right? Jenny McCarthy, by far, is one of the top 2 individuals I've ever been interviewed by. She is a pro. She's an amazing businesswoman. She's funnier than heck. She's absolutely gorgeous, but her gorgeousness does not even touch her heart, soul, passion to help people. And I will give Jenny all the credit in the world. Our first #1 best-selling book, ironically enough, called Positive Thinking Will Never Change Your Life, but this book will. She actually was on the radio with me. I was on her show as a guest, and she said, David, I've always been a huge fan of The Secret and the Law of Attraction. And in your book, you're saying that it takes a heck of a lot more than those 2 things. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to sell me. And at the end of 3 minutes, if you sell me, I will tell my 3 million people listening that you are the rock star of positive thinking. And at the end of 3 minutes, if I still am going to hold on to my affirmations are going to bring me everything I want in the world and all that kind of stuff, then I will tell you, thanks for coming on, but I'm going to stay with my own stuff. After 3 minutes, you can imagine what happened. She stopped the race. She goes, okay, enough. And she turned to the mic, Barbara, and she said, ladies and gentlemen, I have been totally wrong.
Wow.
In everything I've been telling you about how to create success. David Essel, by far, is the new leader of the positive thinking movement. And Barbara, it was so profound because of her position in society, right? To be so humble and so vulnerable and to raise her hand and say, guys, I've been teaching you the wrong stuff. And, I had to do that in 1996, Barbara. I had for 18 years, I had taught the law of attraction. And this is before The Secret came out. The law of attraction has been out since about the 1600s, by the way. And there's part of the law of attraction that's true. But the way we teach it in our country, it's a bunch of crap. Whatever you put out into the universe must return in kind, right? So you say I'm a millionaire, you become one. Come on now. Barbara, you would not have a position in this world. I would not have a position in this world if that worked. People wouldn't need inspiration, motivation. They wouldn't need experts and teachers and leaders and healers because all they'd have to do is throw this out to this so-called universe and they'd be healed, or they'd have 6 houses in Tahiti or whatever the heck these people tell you can get, right? So, Jenny got real. She got down. She stripped her small ego. She said, I was wrong. Are you kidding me? A celebrity and 3 million listeners saying I'm wrong. How many people do that, Barbara, right?
Wow. That is, yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing, David. And just because she's like, oh boy, okay, here we go. I got to admit this.
Exactly.
And you know what? I was just going to say, David, before you move on with your story, I'm glad that she did, because everybody's going down this, like you said, this wrong road. And you just was like, no, this needs to get fixed. And I'm going to sell her in the 3 minutes because this needs to get put out there to all the people that all the millions of people. Yeah. So for all that, just, like you said, that was like the turning point for everybody, that you came on, you sold her on that. You told this is how it's supposed to be. She's like, oh my God, I'm wrong. Let's just get this out here. So yes, it all came to fruition. So that's wonderful.
And Barbara, in my experience for those 18 years, I woke up every day saying I'm a millionaire. I had signs all over my house, that I own homes in Tahiti and Bali and blah, blah, blah. And in 18 years, it never came true. Not one of those things came true by putting these posters on the wall, by spending all this time writing affirmations and speaking affirmation. Now, I will say this, 20% of our massive success in life will come from having a powerful, optimistic attitude. Absolutely. But listen to the percentage, 20%. 80% will come from you doing the work you'd rather not do today. Let me slow that down. 20% of your success, big success. I'm not talking about waking up in the morning. I'm talking about actually doing something big, right? 20% will come from your attitude. Your belief in yourself, your determination, your perseverance against all odds, knocking down mountains that we all have to face. 20% of your success will come from your thought process. And what we ask people to do in all of our counseling and coaching programs is to spend the first hour of every day electronic free. The first hour of every day, no news, no social media, no texting, no email, no nothing. The first hour, actually, I believe in holding freaking books, real paper. I believe in getting up in the morning and journaling. I believe in getting up and meditating, praying, or whatever's in your wheelbox, right? Like I really believe that first hour, electronic free, sets the tone for the day. And if you do it correctly, you don't have to worry about saying affirmations throughout the day. You don't have to worry about, hoping that something's going to come through. You've already done the work in your mind and with the spiritual sense. Now, the next 80%, if you do what you'd rather not do, that's what the superstars, that's how they get successful. If you do what you'd rather not do. And let me go back to Jenny McCarthy. I was on her show like 5 times after that first one. And we got to talking about success and mindset and all this stuff. And I said to her, after your modeling days, what was your business like? How did you do? And she said, David, I'm going to be honest with you. I got lazy. I was getting all of this stuff thrown to me, and I'm, being very successful. And then I'm moving into comedy and I'm doing different things. But then I just sort of took my foot off the gas, and people would call me. And she was in Chicago at the time living. And she said, people would call me from LA and say, hey, we want you a part of a project. And I go, I don't feel like traveling this week. And then a couple weeks later, someone would call from Miami and say, hey, Jenny, we want you to come down here and do Miami. And she go, it's just a pain traveling. And as she stopped doing the work, her career started to dip. Wow. And then she said, David, then I asked her, what recreated Jenny McCarthy? Like, what did you do? And she said, I started doing everything I didn't want to do. I realized that I needed to say yes, even if it was uncomfortable. And David, that shattered everything. And then all of a sudden I went from this Playboy model to where's Jenny McCarthy to where's Jenny McCarthy not? It was from doing the work that she didn't want to do, Barbara. And it's a great lesson for all of us.
Yeah, definitely, David. Now, I want to just, because I know you've been doing this for a long time. I mean, you're just the expert of experts here. But I always know that there's a story. There's always a story. That I was saying with Ann and Malone, and when I was, talking to them. So your story, because I know you just didn't wake up saying, okay, I'm this positive and I'm going to, show the world and all that. So where did it start from? Where did you just say, I need to do this? This was a must for you.
Well, it started really young. We are all given gifts, and a lot of us are embarrassed to say what our gifts are, and other people don't even know what the heck their gifts are. But, as a little kid, I was always a leader. This was my role in life in sports. I played basketball at Division I at Syracuse University for 2 years, and I was a leader on the court. I ran the team in high school, ran the team in elementary school, ran the team. So, it was a natural sort of lead in for me to become either a teacher, which I thought I was going to go to college for being a teacher. But after spending an internship with junior high kids, I ran. I ran out of that profession. I go, oh, no. I'll be in jail. I will not put up with this crap, So, and
so glad you ran, David. So glad you ran.
I am too, Barbara. It was the best move I made, But being that leader, I've always wanted to be ahead, and I've always wanted to tell people, hey, listen, you can do this. Because when I played basketball at Syracuse, I was a walk-on. I did not get a scholarship. The odds of making a Division I school as a walk-on are infinitesimally small. Even 43 years ago when I played basketball there, it's very hard without a scholarship to get a position on a major basketball team. And yet, I use that, my determination, my willingness to do whatever it took. And the coaches came up to me, after the tryouts and said, against all odds, Essel, against all odds, you're on this team. And it was true. I was probably one of the shortest guys at 5'11" on the team. But, I didn't let any of that disturb me, Barbara. I had a goal. I had a dream. I accomplished it. Now, after 2 years, I just simply wasn't good enough. I just couldn't keep up with the talent underneath me. So my junior year, the coach came to me. His name was Roy Danforth. The current coach, Jim Boeheim, who's been there for 42 years, was an assistant. But Roy Danforth came to me and said, Essel, we've got a position for you on, for the next 2 years. You can play as a junior, you can play as a senior. And I was ecstatic, Barbara. And then he really put the nail down. He said, but the odds of you getting in a game are extremely rare. I need you in practice to push the stars, but you're probably not going to play. I'm giving you 24 hours to make a decision. If you want to have that, you've got it. And I went and talked to my roommate, Jake. I'll never forget it, even though it was a long time ago. We spent all night long talking. And I went in the next day and said, Coach, I can't do it. And the reason why, Barbara, was because, in any level of basketball, but Division I, you are devoting your life to the court, to the sport. And then you've got school on top of that. And, you're practicing 7 days a week during the season and off season. I mean, it's just 365 days. And I made a decision that I couldn't put that much effort into this sport anymore if I wasn't going to even be able to get on the court. Now, some people may say that I backed away from an opportunity, and they would be correct in some ways, right? But I followed my heart. The leadership part of me never left. So I got a master's degree in sports psychology and worked with athletes and health and fitness people from 1979 to 1989. And then in 1990, I blew it out in many different ways. Probably the most challenging thing I faced in 1990 was a failed suicide attempt. I had planned on taking my life. I had reached some very deep lows. I had undiagnosed generalized anxiety disorder, undiagnosed clinical depression, undiagnosed ADD, undiagnosed ADHD. I was a mess. Now, I had covered it up for many years with alcohol and workaholism. And when you use substances to cover up your fears, angers, insecurities, or whatever, you can do it for a while, but then you're going to snap. I used workaholism. You know, I was putting in 70, 80, 90 hours a week easy in the first 11 years of my career. And then, but here's the blessing. You know, the failed suicide attempt made me face me, made me look in the mirror, you know, that I am not invincible, that I needed help. And I reached out and I got amazing help. And 12 months later, I was back on my feet. Now, it was not easy at all, but that then pushed me into the world of general counseling. And since then, I have been a massive mental health advocate. I mean, you know, off the charts mental health advocate. And in our work, you know, we have a brand new certification, the mental health and master life coach certification, because we want to create, Barbara, a small army of certified mental health coaches. We've been certifying coaches since 1996, all over the world. Thousands upon thousands of people have gone through our certification. But we created the mental health and master life coach certification for the times we're in right now. And if I can share some statistics to tell you how important this is for coaches, I don't care if you've been certified by other people. If you really want to make a difference, get with our mental health certification for this reason. The American Psychological Association came out about 4 months ago with these statistics, which are absolutely mind-blowing. 79% of Americans reported they have no idea on how to deal with the stress, the addiction, the frustration, the financial challenges, the job loss, the home loss. They have 79% of Americans have no emotional coping skills for the pandemic. Loss of loved ones, grief. You know, I lost my mom and dad in the last 12 months. The most difficult several years of my life. They were in hospice for a number of years, and then they both finally passed away a year apart from each other in the last year. And you know, and one of the things that I went to, you know, and of course I've been sober for a very long time. No challenge there whatsoever. But what I had to do was rework my grief program and use it on myself. And that's what we teach in this new certification. You know, people, Barbara, are grieving over the loss of jobs, pets, relationships, homes. You know, I mean, so we created this certification because we really know that the mental health arena is so underserved. You know, I've been on television constantly for the massacre in Texas, at the elementary school, Robb Elementary, for the massacre at Top Supermarket, the racial massacre in Buffalo, New York. You know, and I am screaming for sensible gun laws. I've joined NBA coach Steve Kerr. We were on a television show, separate places, but we were together on the same TV show, screaming for sensible gun control and screaming for more mental health help, which again, one of the reasons we created the certification. We're even keeping the certification at half off right now because people, I know a lot of people want to do this, but the money isn't there. So we're going to help people in every way we can, Barbara, just like I have my whole life. But, you know, again, this is going back to something that God gave me. You know, God gave me the leadership abilities. You know, of course, when you're given that gift, you can always improve upon them, which I have. But that's something that was just a gift. You know, I write this is just so crazy to tell you the connection here. But, you know, my last 5 books I've written in 48 hours.
Wow. See, that is amazing. But David, I got to put a pin for that because I need to go back to what you said, how important it is. I keep telling people mental illness is real. It is real. And a lot of times people, well, I've been noticing, I don't know where they're not thinking, that they think they're not taking it serious like they really should. That's why I'm so glad and proud that you are putting that certification out there to people to get, we need more people like that to get that certification so we can get people help. But you were talking about losses, like job losses, people losses. When the pandemic just, I'm first of all sorry for your mom and dad, you know, for that. But I know last year I lost 13 family members in 3 months. In 3 months' time, David, I lost 13 family members. Some people are still looking at me saying, how are you still doing what you do? Right. And, and then I thought about what you said about the workaholism, where that's been my take. Yeah. I've used that a lot. And I had to stop myself. I just told myself, wait a minute, Barbara, you're working all this hours. You're doing all this for everybody else. You're doing on these shows and everything else. You need to slow it down, else something's going to happen to you. And that's why I'm just feeling what you're saying. You are so true and right about that. It is like we just kind of yelled at, screaming out loud about the mental wellness. Yeah.
Yeah. And, through the workaholism that you've fallen prey to and the workaholism I've fallen prey to, even if we're doing work to help the world, we still are lacking self-care if we're workaholics. We really are. Going back to the American Psychological Association study, I mentioned 79% of Americans have no clue how to handle the stress going on, which we cover in the certification. 40%. Now, I think this is way underreported. In our private practice, it's 70 to 75%. But according to their survey, 40% are struggling with anxiety and or depression at very deep levels right now. Barbara, we see that as huge. We see it more like 70%. And we can prove it with the number of people that are coming in with food addiction, sex addiction, alcohol addiction, pot addiction, prescription drug addiction. Over the last couple of years, we've seen, and I work in the world of addiction recovery, we've seen a massive increase in all these areas of addiction. And then the last thing that they said, I'm only going to mention 3 of the bullet points, but the third bullet point was, and this is again mind-blowing, 80% of couples in the United States of America said their relationship has never been worse than it is right now. And again, in the course, we do relationship work, the certification. So we really have, again, and I'm not bragging, and please, no one take this as a brag, but as a leader, we have to be looking at not just the present, but we have to be looking at the present and saying, how can I alter the future with what I know right now about the present? And that's when we created the certification. The other thing we created, speaking about the pandemic, and this is absolutely free, is a program called Helping Americans Heal and the World. Now, it's a free program. They can go to talkdavid.com and sign up. Instantly, they're going to get our #1 best-selling book on positive thinking, the one that changed Jenny McCarthy's mind. And then every week, Barbara, they're going to get an email. And in the email will be interviews like this one. This one's going to be part of Helping Americans Heal when we get it from you. There'll be interviews. There'll be articles. There's a video on sleep. There's a video on financial freedom. There's a video on meditation. There's a free subscription to an addiction recovery online magazine that is the best in the world. So Helping Americans Heal, something else that we created for absolutely free. We're investing millions of dollars into these programs, Barbara, because we know that the government cannot do this. The government is not equipped in the world of mental health, and they have admitted they're not equipped. And so we believe that it's everyday citizens like myself that need to be thinking of programs, some free, like Helping Americans Heal. So there's no objection. You can't say, well, I can't afford this or I don't have time for it. Yes, you can afford it because it's free. And yes, you have time because you get one email a week chock full of information to help us go to that next level. And then, of course, the mental health and master life coach certification. But this is just what we do. And if you're a leader right now, which I know you are, if you're watching Barbara's show, what I want you to do is look at your present moment, look around at your clients, look for patterns. We found the pattern of mental health just like that 3 years ago. And so, look, you may find a pattern that goes into your wheelhouse with weight loss, or you may find a pattern that goes into your coaching program with financial advice during the pandemic. Whatever your expertise is, be a leader. Come out with a program that's fresh. Don't keep reusing old crap. Too much has changed in this world for you to be using a program you created pre-pandemic. We've got to be creating programs right now to prepare ourselves for the post-pandemic if it ever leaves. And if it doesn't leave, you need to be teaching your clients how to deal at the highest level with the pandemic. Don't shy away from mental health. Don't shy away from using the term pandemic health or pandemic finances or pandemic relationships. Get fresh. Take a weekend. Jot your notes down. Come up with a new program. Come on, we've got to do this as a country. Coaches, counselors, therapists have to all be working together, Barbara.
Yes, I'm loving it. I'm loving it, David. The soapbox, I can hear it. It's like your passion. I'm loving it. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. That's why I love this show so much that I created, to bring on people like you to wake up. Basically, wake up. I didn't want to curse, but wake up. But David, I want to, because I know with time, but I want to give you 30 seconds. I want you to leave whatever you want to leave, and then I'll bring back up so they basically know where to contact you, get the certification, whatever that, that they need from you. So I'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I'm so glad that you're taking the time for your self-care, for you to listen to Barbara and all of her wonderful guests, and to take notes. One of the things I always tell clients is that take notes when you're watching a Zoom or you're watching an interview like this. Join me. Be one of the leaders. Become certified with our mental health and master life coach certification. As I mentioned, I've been certifying coaches since 1996. Now we've leveled up. We recreated this entire mental health and master life coach certification for these times. You will walk away so prepared. You will walk away so ready. And as most of you know, coaches are earning right now between $50 and $250 per hour. And that's going to go up because the need for certified coaches is off the charts. Then also our free program, Helping Americans Heal. Join it, share it. We're giving away 500,000 memberships to this online program, and you can be right there. Get the information, make the life changes, share it with your clients, your family, whatever you need to do, but act. All you have to do is go to talkdavid.com. Everything you need is there.
Thank you so much, David. Get into the positive thinking movement. Mental health, yes.
Yes.
I had to put that out there.
I love it.
I love talking to you. I love that you've been on the show, and I love having a celebrity in the house. I'm just going to be frank.
Oh, thank you, Barbara.
So thank you so much. And, I welcome you anytime if you want to shout to the rooftops, whatever else you're going to be doing moving forward, because I know that you just like that locomotive. Yes. Please, reach out to me. I'll reach out to you, and then we'll make it happen. Because like I said, I like to help give the people visibility so they know what needs to be done. And you are that particular person.
And Barbara, as soon as this is ready, we'll send it out to our complete email list so they get a chance to see you and I working together and how we are both in so alignment on these topics. So listen, you keep going forward, baby. You're rocking this world, and I want to see you again as well.
Yes, thank you, David.
The time to take action is now. This is the time to work on you and your business. So I've created a group, an online academy for professionals and entrepreneurs. Power Partners will help you to start helping yourself.
Helped me change my life and my business.
Not a Toastmasters, it's not a BNI, it's not any of these, but it is. So it's all this stuff in one place.
Get the results that you deserve right now. So what are you waiting for? Let's make it happen. See you in Power Partners.
My body becomes like a cement. Oh my God.
That was the better one.
Okay. Oh my God. It's like magic. Literally like magic.
Although it may seem a little mundane, packing up boxes and, being on the assembly line, what we're really doing is putting in hundreds of hours into the people on the streets who need us. And they need us in a way that none of us will ever understand. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been on the grounds every day. They know we're coming today. They know we're coming tomorrow. forward to seeing us because we're the one little bit of hope that they have to have a warm meal in their bellies and to know that somebody in the world is actually caring for them and loving them. And without people like you showing up today to give your time, your energy, and your spirit, none of this is possible. So I want to really say thank you to everyone, because what we're doing here today may seem small, but it's actually really, really big, and it's impacting hundreds and thousands of families. So I thank you, I love you, I look forward to doing this with you today. My name is Serena Buffalino, and I am the founder of Help Heal Humanity. Help Heal Humanity is a charity that is focused on unconditional giving, love, and support to some of the most vulnerable communities in the world.
Yes, we are back. Oh, you know, when I had an interview with David Essel, I was like, oh my God, he was just on a high. I said, I think he drank like maybe five cups of coffee that morning. But David, thank you so much again for always coming on the show and giving us, the positivity, teaching us basically, we just have to just be out there and help others. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And one of the things that I believe in, like I said, with the Coaches Lounge that I bring to the table, the show that I have here, is to make sure that you understand the people that are helping you behind the scenes, the coaches, the educators, the consultants, life coaches, the personal development. I mean, the list goes on, health and everything, because it wasn't for them kind of encouraging you, supporting you, giving you tips, being there when you're down, being there when you're high, being there when you're lows, you wouldn't be kind of getting to where you're at right now. So I said they need to be spotlighted. And that's why I bring on the coaches. So we do, usually I call, when I have lady coaches on, I call them queens. Well, we had one king this morning. We're going to have another king come on. And he goes by Daniel G. I like that. It reminds me of the, I forgot I think the jazz musician, Kenny G. But he's Daniel G. And he is his own musician in life coach for men. And I love what he does because it is so needed when it comes to men and their emotions and really letting it out and just not feeling, ashamed to cry, not feeling ashamed to say, hey, I have something on my mind. I have something on my heart and I need to let it out because that's got to get me keep going. I'm not this, I always tell my men friends that sometimes I say, you're not a robot. You're not a robot. You're a human being. You have feelings. You have emotions. You should be able to show that. And you're still a man. People be there like, well, I might be a wimp if I start crying, but I'm like, no, you're not a wimp. You're more of a man when you do cry. And that's what I always say. And hopefully, Daniel agrees with me. We're going to hear some things that he does with men to make them understand that you're still a man. In fact, you're stronger when you let it out and when you talk and when you're able to just, contemplate around them and say, okay, I need to make sure that I can be me. I can be the real person that I am. So with that, but you know what? I can't bring on the kings and royalty just saying, here they go. They're on the screen. I have to do it nice. So after this little video, we will be meeting Mr. Daniel G. Hello, sir. How you doing this morning?
Hey, Barbara. I'm doing good. And you?
Good. point. I'm doing great. You're on the show.
Yeah. Wow. I'm on TV. Yeah.
Yeah, so you deserve it. You deserve it for what you do for in the world. You're a world changer. So thank you for hearing the call, because I know I've been reaching out on LinkedIn. I've been like looking around for the wonderful coaches and all that. And I know I tagged you, and you was like, you just signed up this week. And I was like, wow, that was quick. I said, thank you so much. So I appreciate you coming on the Coaches Lounge with me.
Yeah, it's a gift for me. It's a present, a sign from the universe. Because when you start out in this world wide web, you have to reach out. So I wrote like 10,000s of emails out to podcasts, out to TVs, out to newspapers, and you can imagine how many answers I got. And now the time has kind of changed. People come to me and say, "Hey, you want to be a guest on my podcast? You want to be on my show?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, okay." I'm so freaking grateful that people are coming to me. How would I say no after all these emails I wrote? I would be stupid to say no.
So the universe is reaching out to you. Some, their universe like this came on through. So one of the things that I love, Daniel, before we get started on the certain things that you do, especially for men, like I said earlier, I commend you for that, because we need more. We need to multiply you, because like I said, my male friends and my used to be husband, I know that they always have to be this, and I understand, because they're a man and they're, had a house, they say all that, but then when they really, really need that to be open, it seems like that challenge with them. It's a challenge with them, and they just seem like they have to hide behind a mask, and that's really sad that they have to do that. So, but before we get to some of your tips, what made you kind of just say, you know what, I want to help men and be their life coaches and kind of stir them the right way? What started you in that particular area?
I didn't want to.
You didn't want to?
I didn't want to. No, really, I didn't want to.
Wow.
I didn't want to be a coach. I didn't want to help people. But one beautiful day, I was at the speaker contest in Munich, Germany. And there I met the guy who claimed to be Europe's #1 transformational expert. What a title, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that sounds good in marketing, but are you really? And he was all cool and said, yeah, I am. And then out of the blue, back then I still drank, now I don't anymore. I had some beers, and you know how it is when we have a little bit too much alcohol, we become cheeky, or I at least become cheeky and loud and all that. So I asked him, so if you're such the #1 champion of Europe, you can tell me what my higher purpose is. And he was like, yeah, I can do that. I was like, what? It's not. And all calm and all cool and that. You gave me XYZ amount of dollars and I tell you. And I was like, wow, that's freaking XYZ amount of dollars. But I gave him that amount of dollars and he told me. And now here I am.
Wow. So you took that chance. You said, okay, well, I'll pay.
Yeah, but sometimes, there are days, to be very honest, there are days I regret having asked that question. Because knowing what your higher purpose is good. It's a gift. It's cool. It makes you wake up in the morning and tell, okay, I'm going to do this. But you know how it is in life. There are days you're like, what the hell am I doing here? Why am I doing it? Can't I just go back to sales or go back to be a craftsman or go back to be a freaking drunk and have my peace? No, you can't, So
and get paid.
That's why I'm here.
Wow. So okay, with that, so when you talk to basically your coach, like I said, coaches have coaches, I tell people all the time. And he basically helped you through that. Your high, what is your purpose, your higher power of it. So it was really, you went to yourself and said, helping with the men and trying to make sure that they get their emotions out without seeming like they are, less than a man. Is it something that was really kind of pulling at you that you needed to do?
Actually, the calling is that I have to show human beings that we're not slaves, that we're not corporate slave 9 to 5. We're not here just to pay our bills. We're much, much more. Similar to what David said before, I listened just at the end of it. We are divine creative beings. The planet, the world is about to shift into another stage. Some people call it the golden age, some people call it whatever. I don't want to label it, but the world is shifting. Things are coming out into the light. They were in the dark for thousands and thousands of years, and we have to shift with it. So my duty here in that life, in this life, is to show people that we are creative, that we have tremendous power by augmenting, by increasing our brain activity. Did you know that we use like 10 to 12% of our brain?
I heard that a few times. I was like, wow, we got a lot that we can still be using. That's what I always think about when I hear that. A lot more.
And did you know if we increase it to 20%, we become empathetic, real empathetic. So I can sense your thoughts then, and you can sense mine. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't the world be a freaking easy place? You know why? Because people would then observe their thoughts and would train their brain to have good and positive thoughts. And as we know from Dr. Dispenza and others, if you do that, you have a better life. And your environment is better. So instead of that being a voluntary work of observing your thoughts and changing your mindset and changing your thoughts, that would be obvious. Because if I have bad thoughts versus you or being around you, and you can sense that, you say, hey, Daniel, what the hell are you thinking right now? Aren't you ashamed? And I'm like, oh, 20%. So imagine we go up to 30, 40, 50, 60, 100%. So we're using very, very little of our God-given potential.
Yes.
And I have, frankly, honestly, no clue how I'm going to achieve that right now. So I'm doing step by step. What I'm doing is I ask my coach, so what can I do? How can I? I'm like, no, I can't do that. And he said, calm down, just go by the flow, take the decision, and life, the universe will show you what to do. So my first step is, okay, I have to help people. Good. How can I do that? So I hired another coach, wonderful man from Australia, Scott Anthony, and he is a self-made two-figure millionaire, dropped out of school, you know, the cliche, perfect. And I asked him, how can I help people? I don't know how. And he said, okay, write down your story. So I wrote down my story, starting to drink at the age of 13, being a needle junkie at the age of 17, and having stopped all that, smoking, by the way, too, and now being sober and not having a problem with it, not going to meetings or whatever. I even have alcohol in my house. If you come by, you have to drink. I don't care. So I wrote down the whole story and I sent it to him, and he called me and said, are you out of your mind, Daniel? What did I do wrong? You asked me how you can help people. There it is in front of you. Go on and help. So we created that Quit the Bottle program, a video program, 30 days. You watch a video every day. You have a weekly call with me. And in 30 days, if you do everything that is told in the videos, if you change your mindset accordingly, you're on the wagon forever. There is no question anymore, or you're being off the wagon or on the wagon or counting days or going to weekly meetings or whatnot. You're just free. It sounds incredible, but it works. I was a drunk for over 30 years and it worked on me. And that is the proof that it actually works. So that was the first step. And then I figured, okay, drinking men is very narrow niche. What about all the men that are suffering by being workaholic, as David said before, by watching too much porn, by not opening up, by all these are just symptoms, right? So underneath, by a lot of men, especially men of my generation, is the problem that they don't show the little boy inside them. The little 10-year-old boy that is just a boy. He's still there. He's still inside us, but he wants to come out and play. So let him out. Let him come out and play. You know,
I like that. I like
that. And that's the underlying problem of men. and we have to change, we have to evolve. And to make it really like narrow it down, we say that if we show our feelings, other men will think we're pussies. But that's not the truth. What we really think is that you women will think that we are weak and not real men.
Yeah,
That's what we fear. We don't want you to think that. We want to be your strong king, your warrior. You can lean on our shoulders and we're strong and we do everything. But what we don't get is the following thing, that you women, when it's the moment for you to fall in love with us, you go and tear that facade apart and all that wall and that warrior thing, and you look for the little boy. There it is. Yes. I want this man because I like the little boy inside that man. Mm-hmm. True or not? Mm-hmm. You're a woman. Tell me, is it true or not?
That's true. I mean, I always tell my men friend, I said, just talk to me. I always say that. I said, you don't have to put on this facade sometimes. Just be you.
And you don't fall in love with our muscles. No, you fall in love with our heart, with our emotions. Yes. And that's what I try to work on with men. Some are a little stubborn, like I was, but that's,
I know you got to really hit through that exterior, because I know, like I said, I know a lot of men that still fight it. I mean, they fight.
There is nothing to fight.
And they feel like they have to. And see, that's the sad part. They feel like they have to fight and say, no, I can't do that. Like you said, I have to look, be that, I'm not that, person. I'm not going to cry. One guy used to tell me, he said, Barbara, okay, can you just see, okay, now you're going through some pain, Barbara. Say you're going through some pain and you're crying, to me. And you're like, oh, I blah, blah, blah. So they said, what do I look like? They say, well, blah, 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 too. So we're both sitting there crying. He said, that's crazy. So I said, you know what? If that happened, I wouldn't look at you any lower, because now I see, okay, now you feel my pain. You're there with me. It's not like, okay, well, she's crying, I'm just going to sit here and watch her. I mean, sometimes it's nice to say, okay, are you feeling something too here? So that's why I'm glad that you work with men, in that capacity.
Yeah, I figured, there are a lot of coaches, I don't blame them, who work with a lot of people, who work with men and women and children and whatnot. I said, who can I help most? The man I was 5-6 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. And not the man who has a lot of money or who is the dream client because he paid me a lot of money. Of course, I'm not cheap. I charge something for my services. Of course, I'm a coach. That's how coaching works. But who can help you better than a man that has been there, that has been through it? And what I can help you with is that I can help you avoid the zigzag I did. Mm. I tried out things. Okay, this doesn't work. I tried another. Okay, this doesn't work. This worked. And with my structure, with my coaching, I can guide you through very quickly.
Yes. And now just because I know we just have this little time left, but can you kind of walk just a little, like 30 seconds of like, first of all, your niche, like the man that kind of needs your coaching, what do you start off with? I mean, how do you find them?
They find me, basically. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube, except Facebook, I'm almost everywhere.
Well, yeah, as far as finding you for a coach, but what kind of men that you kind of, like you said, you deal with men that are really struggling in that area? I mean, what do you look for?
Yeah, so the men that come to me are between 40 and 55, I'd say. They have their life, they're in career, they have families, houses, they're executive, but they're also maybe craftsmen or whatever, but they have a life. And they come to a point where they sense it has to change. Something has to change right now, because either I lose my job, I lose my family, or I'm going to drink even more, or I'm going to masturbate even more, or I'm going to work even more, or do way too much sport. Yes, that's possible. We can do too much sport. And they sense like this is now something has to change, because what we need to know is that keeping up that stoic facade costs us a lot of energy. tremendous amount of energy every day, and that's tiresome. Yes. And there is a point in life where every man, being alone in his car, in his garage, in his workshop, whatever, says to himself, okay, I have to do something. This can't go on like that. Mm-hmm. And these are the men that usually find me and reach out to me.
Now, one more question for you, because now, you talk, I'm glad you gave the scenario of which kind of man that, comes to you for coaching. So now, as a woman, and how we can maybe help men, because I know I do this a lot. Some people call me Miss Psychiatrist. I'm like, I'm not a psychiatrist. I just want to be a helper. And they said, well, Barbara, you dig. The men tell me this. They said, I tell you I'm okay. And you're like, I don't know. I'm sensing something. I say something like that. So you sure you don't want to talk about or say anything? I'm here for you. I'm your friend, So, I do that maybe two times only, because I know men don't like to be here naggers. So I had to be careful. I don't want to, I had to draw the line. So as me being a woman for me, how can I help them, like how you're doing, to make sure that, hey, you can talk. You got emotions here.
So we don't like listening to women, even if we know you're right.
I know that. So you're so right.
If you tell a man you should, if you start a sentence with you should, the man's ears is like clack, closed, done.
And you're like you said, you're out of there, right? Like,
yeah,
nope.
I should nothing, especially not coming from a woman. No. Even though we know deep down inside you're right. Yeah. But so what you can do is to just tell them, I met this guy. He wasn't wrong. He was this. He was that. He came out of it, and he shows people how to get free of their emotions, how to get really free from their heart, how to not being that stoic warrior that you think you need to be. But it's not a woman. It's a man like you. Go to him, have a chat with him, no strings attached. That's what you can do, because he then thinks, okay, that's another man. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, they can men can identify with men, and like you said, as soon as we say should, it's like you might as well just be quiet the rest of the time that you're talking, because they're not listening to you anymore. Yeah. So, but thank you for sharing that. So I know now just to send them to you. That's what I need to do. I need to send them to Daniel G. So yeah. Daniel G, I want to, before we, sign off here, I want to make sure that you leave, if you want to leave any other items or interesting things for the audience that's listening right now. I'm going to give you like 30 seconds, and then I will take myself down, and then I'll be back, and then we can make sure that they get your contact information. So I'll be right back. Okay. So, brother, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, you have the choice. Either you sit in your car, you cry silently, and then you enter your house and you tell your wife that everything is fine, even though you know and she knows it's not the case. And that costs you a lot of energy. I know, I've been there. Or the other choice you have, you enter your house, you embrace your wife, you cry, and she holds you tight, and then you talk about what's holding you back and what's bothering you and what's making you cry. And then it's gone, and then it's over. Then you're free. And your kid's gonna love you, and you're gonna be the father they deserve, and your wife's gonna love you even more, because that's the man she fell in love. So it's up to you. What's your choice? And I can just tell you, if you choose to open up, you're not less a man. It's not true. You're more a man. I can tell you this. 5 years ago, if I entered a room on a meeting or for a presentation, I had to do, I'm here. Now I enter a room, the room is silent. Everybody turns around and look at me. Because what? Because I'm the man.
Wow. That is powerful. Thank you, Daniel.
It's the truth.
It's the truth.
It's just the truth.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes you just need to take that pause and listen. And that, hopefully people took a pause and listened to what you just said. That was very powerful. Thank you so much for stressing that. Good thoughts. So Daniel, thank you so much for being on the show again. You are always welcome anytime you have any new things coming in your life that you want to talk about, bring them here.
Good. You say that because I'm putting a little program together, a little structured thing over 3 months, and once it's ready, I ping you on LinkedIn, and then hopefully you invite me again. That would be awesome.
No, it's hopefully you will be invited. Just let me know. We'll make it happen.
Thank you so much for having me, Barbara. It was very nice.
No problem. And just to remind everybody, please reach out. I'm going to put this back down, his LinkedIn address. Please reach out to Daniel G. And if you know, I know he coaches others, but especially for men, I mean, like he said, he really explained the ones that might need his coaching. Just talk, have a conversation with him. Sometime when men hear coaching, like, I don't need a coach. That's conversation. Yeah, stop doing that. Just have the conversation.
Two brothers talking. That's
just
all.
Two brothers talking, and he can feel you because he's been through. You can tell, and that's the connection. That's the connection. So
you know what? Actually, I didn't want to do that again. I did that in whole November, but I'm going to do it again until the end of the year. I'm offering 2-hour power coaching sessions for men, free of charge. Reach out. I'm here. Let's have a talk. Let's start right away. Let's dig right away into it. And if you go to my profile, you will see some testimonials of men, also women, who have done these 2-hour coaching sessions. And just reach out. I'm here. Free of charge, no strings attached, no sales talk, no assessment, no strategy call, just 2-hour pure, full power coaching.
Oh, right. Yes, we definitely. This is a gift. Okay, people, when you hear a gift, you need to take that gift because it only lasts a certain amount of time. So thank you, Daniel.
No money excuse allowed because no money involved.
See, no excuses. No excuses at all. Wow.
Change your life. Come, we do it.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. So, Dan, like I said, reach out to me when you're ready and we'll bring you back on. I'm here to help you get that visibility so people know who you are and that you're a world changer. Thank you again for coming on the Coaches Lounge. You take care.
Thanks, Barbara. Thank you so much. Bye.